I am small, weak, helpless. My eyes are stinging as violent sobs shake my entire body and their hands run all over me. The hands of my attackers. I am 5 years old and I have just been physically assaulted. After months of harassment, 2 boys in my kindergarten class cornered me in a bathroom, pushed me down, splashed water into my eyes, covered my body in liquid soap, and stuck paper towels to my clothes and skin. After they were done with me, they left the bathroom, giggling and laughing at their success. This incident is one of the many reasons I stand here today advocating anti-bullying legislation, because of my own experiences with bullying. But I believe regardless of our experience with bullying, we all want to aid in its eradication. But before we can end this ubiquitous phenomenon in our society, we have to understand exactly what it is. So what is bullying? According to the Office of Anti-Bullying Strategy, bullying is a persistent and deliberate attempt to hurt or humiliate someone. Bullies abuse their victims physically, mentally, or emotionally. And this violent cycle does not only negatively impact the targets of bullying, but the bullies themselves. For according to kidshealth.org, 1 in 4 elementary school bullies will have a criminal record by the time that they're 30. Ironically, the first step in addressing this violent cycle is simply addressing it. I have personally witnessed far too many cases go unaddressed by authority figures. In my own case, the 2 boys that assaulted me, their actions were never addressed and they were never punished. And I can only imagine the dozens of other children that fell victim to their cruelty. Principals, teachers, parents, and even other students will often ignore bullying, such as what I faced, simply because they don't know how to deal with it and they lack the skills to truly do so. Unfortunately, by doing this, they allow bullying to flourish. For the second that we allow bullying to occur without putting an end to it, for the second that we allow it to occur without saying that it's wrong, we send the message that bullying is acceptable, that it's tolerable, when in fact it's not. One prime example of this is the infamous national 1999 incident of the Columbine High School shooting. Contrary to popular belief, the instigators of the attack, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, were not antisocial loners that were victimized by bullies at their own school. In fact, they themselves were the bullies. According to Dan Cullen, a Colorado journalist who researched and documented the case for over a decade, Klebold threatened another child so frequently, the child's parents had to call the police 15 times. Both boys were arrested for attempted theft only months before the attack. And yet, despite these warning signs, they were both given a slap on the wrist and treated as if they had done virtually nothing wrong. Then a few months later, they killed 15 people, including themselves. So I ask, where does it end? Where do we draw the line and say that bullying is unacceptable and it cannot continue? So far we haven't, and nationally we've seen the results of such actions. What this country needs is a national standard, a federal precedent for dealing with bullying and bullies. Therefore, I propose federal legislation that would require teachers to undergo training in conflict mediation, in addition to teaching about psychological impacts of and reasons for bullying. In addition, every 5 years, teachers would be required to undergo this training yet again to ensure the validity of their understanding. This legislation attacks the source of bullying, where it mainly occurs, our educational system. In our society, we have not equipped our educators with sufficient skills to deal with bullying. For according to a study done by Clemson University, 30% of boys in grades 3 through 5 report their teacher doing little to nothing to reduce bullying. Tragically, this number only increases to nearly 60% by high school age. This increase, the existence of this number at all, is due to the mere fact that we don't attempt to end bullying in our society, and this legislation does exactly that. In addition, this legislation sends a message that bullying is unacceptable and that we will not tolerate it in our country. But most of all, this piece of legislation is one small step for bullies and one giant leap for their victims.